Alright, the mic is on. Hello, everybody. Okay, let me just get out here. Hope you all are having a great day. Alrighty. Be happy to answer any questions for you if I can. Hello. Try to refresh here, make sure I see. Everything. Hello. Nora. I don't know how I'm going to pronounce that. Nanaka? N-A-N-A-C-A. Hello. Can you guys see me okay? Let's see. You hear me. That's great. Okay, let me fix this camera. I thought it was open. My face is cut off. There we go. Okay. Let's see. How do you set up a puppy for failure when it comes to resource guarding? I have seen Amelia attack twice over a bone. Yeah, we have a couple in my group. I would say right now the two that are the most aggressive, if you want to call it, are Amelia and Jet. And like today, right after feeding, I took them out on Puppy Hill in groups of 4. I kind of set them up in a position that I'm not encouraging the behavior, but I'm certainly not, you know, I'm giving them an opportunity to be in a group. In my opinion, they tend to get ramped up when there's more activity, thus allowing them to let, you know, have that behavior come to head. And me being right there to reprimand the behavior, whether it be with my voice. Today I had the bat out, so they were a little like, oh, she means business. Or if the dog is getting really aggressive, if I'm right there, I'll grab the dog by the neck, quickly pin the dog to the ground and release, showing dominance over that dog. And most times, you know, they'll stop in that particular instance. And the more times we do that, the goal is that the less likely they're going to be to be aggressive. But you know, sometimes we just have dogs that work in this, that come up through the farm, that's just their personality, and sometimes we can overcome it and sometimes we can't. So we obviously give them many opportunities and training opportunities to kind of correct that behavior. But so right now we're still in that really early stage with the two of them, that I don't feel like it's indicative of their overall personality. Both are really great in a vest. They're great out in public. So it's, you know, I wouldn't say, oh, we're going to wash them out right now because of that. My opinion is also to say that a dog that's like that here at the farm could be completely different as a service dog living either on their own or in a home environment, you know, with their person. I mean, some dogs just aren't farm dogs, and they respond so much better, say, when they're at my house or one of our houses for overnight or a weekend stay. They're completely different in their behavior and mannerisms. So we certainly try to exhaust all options. I know that was a really long answer, but I just wanted to say why and how we kind of work through all that. Did you get snow there today? It's just starting to snow, just a little bit, some slight flurries. I think we're supposed to get, the last I checked was like 1 to 3 inches here, roughly. Do you train the dogs to walk differently in snow ice when a recipient is depending on them? I do. I mean, I try to, out in public or even on the farm, I definitely walk at a super slow pace when I'm out above the ice, so that obviously I don't want to fall, but so that the dog realizes that, hey, in this situation we have to take even more cautious steps. even more time to kind of get through this environment. Let's see here. If a prospective recipient was not vocal, would you consider using a whistle or a clicker? Carlene, in my opinion, I don't think she doesn't really like the clicker training. I guess the best example of a dog recently that we've worked with would be Rogue, who was paired with Melissa, who is deaf. When I communicate with Melissa, she kind of, along with signing or reading lips, she does have a slight whisper. And for whatever reason, and granted we haven't trained the dog specifically to someone who doesn't use a lot of verbal cues. In fact, obviously a lot of our training is opposite of that when we're teaching the dog to listen and have, listen to our conversation with them. But somehow, and I just think it's just like seizure alert dogs, somehow those dogs know how to work with their person. I'm a strong believer that if the dog is connected to the recipient in such a way that any of our dogs are connected to us as their owners, they'll do anything for you. I mean, I kind of equate it to Tony. That dog will do, he's been through basic service dog training. I haven't taken him out in a vest in a very long time, but he will do anything I ask him to do. And so I think it's just Rogue has to pay attention to Melissa in a different way. There's a lot of eye contact. There's a lot of hand signals. So I think rather than defaulting to a sound or a clicker, I would say first you would probably want to work on hand and eye contact rather than the auditory. But I do know Melissa was trying to work with Rogue on alerting her, like when the doorbell rang, things like that. So I personally haven't had any experience with that specific training, but I do know it's a possibility. Hi Katie, do you see a difference in personalities when training between male and female dogs? I do. I touched on this a few weeks ago. For some reason, I feel like the males are more emotional. To me, like, they just have these little soulful eyes, and when they're in a vest, at least, they're very connected, and to me, they're more apt to pay attention and focus on you than the girls. The girls either seem to be like super independent or just flighty. Not that they're bad, it's just a different way of handling. So I kind of think their personalities are a little bit different in general, but then even more so, each dog is totally different. I can take all the calories and minions and specifically, have a certain cue word or something to describe their personality, and they're all very different. Do Danes require boots in snowy weather? They do have boots on the market. I have, yes, owned a pair. My dogs never really liked to wear them, so I was just like, forget it. I personally prefer a product called Vermont Bag Balm. It's kind of like the texture of a Vaseline, a thicker, like lanolin Vaseline. You can buy it on Amazon. Sometimes Walgreens carries them. You don't have to use very much. They either come in like a little 1 ounce can or a 9 ounce can, something like that. But the product is great. I usually wipe it on the bottom of my dog's feet in the sand and ice. And to me, it's just as much protection than boots. We don't put the dogs here in boots to go out and play. They're animals. Have you ever worked with one of the breeds of Great Danes that they use in dog shows, or do you or Carlene notice a difference in temperament? Do you think that is why they thought that Great Danes would not be good service dogs? Have you ever worked with a breed of Great Dane they use in a dog show?
Have I ever worked with a breed of
Great Dane? I don't really understand that. I'm trying to understand the question. Have you ever worked with one of the breeds of Great Danes they've used in dog shows, or do you or Carlene notice a difference in temperament? Do you think that is why they thought Great Danes would not be good service dogs?
Oh, there is no different breed of
Maybe
dog.
they're thinking like American versus European.
They're different sizes and shapes, and certainly
Right.
we have concentrated on the type that we like, both in temperament and shape. But also, it's a great deal in the way that they're handled. There's hardly anybody that trains like we do.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how many, just somebody today who I was impressed with, I can't remember who it was, has come to the conclusion that Great Danes are different.
Oh.
They've handled a whole bunch of dogs. They finally got themselves a Great Dane, and all of a sudden they say, this isn't like the other dogs we've had. Great Danes are different, and you train them differently. I keep saying we educate ours. Mm-hmm. You talk to them like a small child. You don't order them around and make them put their foot on their head or sit up or shake hands or do all those silly things that you can get a Jack Russell
and they
to do.
think. I mean,
they think.
They do. Today I worked on downstairs in the feed room, and I'll have one that'll, they'll get up. I did it on the veranda. And they'll get up on the veranda, and I'll have a cookie in my hand, and I'll tap in front, and I'll say down, and they'll sit there and they're staring at your hand. And then I'll look at them and I'll say, think about it. And you can just see their little minds working. And then all of a sudden, sure enough, I'll say it again, and slowly they'll bring, they just need time to,
I thought it was very interesting when those people were filming here. I don't know whether the camera was on anybody or not, but it's cold out. And we didn't want to play outside at all. So we had a puppy, I've forgotten who it was.
Cadet?
Could be. On a leash in the kitchen.
Yeah, I think I heard it was like that.
And she was walking around in circles. And he walked around in circles twice. And the next time he came around, he said, what the hell is this? We should be over there. I could go lie down and be very comfortable. Mm-hmm. And she was just trying to demonstrate, which he did very well, the fact that when she stopped, he stopped. There was no leash tightening. There was no nothing. When she hesitated, he hesitated. Except when he got to the corner where he really thought that it made much more sense to come out here and lie down. And you could just see the dog thinking, and then she'd talk to him, and they'd go around again. We don't train my dogs by walking around in circles. The dogs would not understand that.
No.
You'd lose them.
I find, like, more onto that is I find that when I take a dog out, I kind of hit everything on my list, but usually only once. Like, I don't sit here and go up the stairs and come back down and go up the stairs and come back down. I mean, then they're going to be, why?
That's right. Why are we doing that?
Why are we going in circles? So usually I kind of go through the list. I may spend a little bit more time on a downs day or whatever, but I don't just do repetitive motions.
No.
And then like downstays in the feed room, I mean, I did it 2 or 3 times, but that's it. But they were getting rewarded with a cookie, so they're a little bit different. Anyway.
The only time I do something repetitively would be like that deal I got into with the checkout counters that had balloons over them. And it took me 75 times of going around a circle to get that dog used to that damn balloon. But that is a repetitive kind of deal.
Yeah.
Where you're trying to flood the situation because you're getting a negative reaction from the dog in the first place. But other than that, no. You go lead life and straighten it out as you go.
And just let them acclimate, right? What do we think of the AKC certification Canine Good Citizenship?
I think it's a good deal.
I do too.
I used to be an examiner for that.
Oh, really?
I did. But it's paperwork and I never could keep it straight.
No, I think it's good. People want to take the time
It's a very good program. It's a good program for kids. It gives them a goal.
Right.
You get a reward if you make it. Things like that. It's a good program. That's one of the very few programs of the AKC that I do think is wonderful. Along with their canine there.
How do you do the pin with a large dog that shows dominance? Obviously, you can't pin the dog to the ground and release. They're talking about that.
Oh.
You hit it with a water bottle.
I like water bottles myself.
A bigger dog is not going to, a bigger Dane at least, is not going to, I mean, I've whacked one on the side of the chest. If they're in a dog fight.
You're in trouble. Lee, go have coffee.
I mean, Megan and I have chucked water at a dog, and they're like, oh, and then,
Yeah, if you could start with that.
Yeah.
That's really
But you
what
can't
want to do.
pin.
When I say hit them with a water bottle, mine is usually about a quarter full, but it makes a big noise.
Yeah.
And it startles them, and they don't like to be startled. If they're in a dogfight, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
It's
Funny. I tend to scream. I don't know why. It's just like,
you do scream?
I do. I don't know. It's like my first reaction
Because you're
is
just
to
adding to it.
yell loud and try
Right.
to scare them.
You're just adding to the excitement, you know. But sometimes, sometimes it works.
Sometimes it works.
Smell at them, and if you can see it coming and get one step ahead of them, that's the name of the game.
And intervene. What was the highlight of my day? Pilot did not puke in the car.
Oh, isn't that wonderful?
That was the highlight of my day.
Isn't that wonderful?
I gave her a Kong.
Oh, there you go.
Maybe to distract her in the car. We went to Tractor Supply, so that wasn't very far.
Yeah.
And I had her and Finn in the car, and I gave them each a Kong, and we made it all the way there. And then she did excellent in the training. And we got back in the car, and she got back into her Kong, and we made it all the way back without vomit. That was the highlight of my day.
Do you have a sign around your neck that says "I have a dog in the car"?
Not yet.
Shame on you.
I know. I need that tag.
That's what we need. Wherever it is.
We have the little signs. I just need to pull punch it.
Oh, is that too hard? Where are they? I'll do it. I hang one on my rear view mirror, which is where they should be kept.
Somebody's saying Melissa also has additional needs besides hearing. Yes, she does. I wasn't implying that she's only... Rogue is not there simply because she's deaf. She does have balance problems. Could you tell us why Charlie was left down in the kennel last night without Steve?
Steve went out to dinner.
Steve went out to dinner and chose not to bring Charlie for that evening.
I have no idea.
I'm not real sure.
But he ended up here in the house.
Oh, did he?
Yes, he barked.
I know Steve was helping out Colleen because she was with Megan.
That's right.
So that might have been why.
If the dog are so over at Colleen's, they may not get along with Charlie.
Yeah, so it could have been something situational.
I've heard about a German Shepherd over there.
Yes. Yes,
That's
you're right.
Why?
Lance. Okay, I'm done. Hopefully I answered your questions.
Bye.
I'm going to hole punch before I leave. You're on. I don't know if you don't have any mail.
I don't have any mail. What exactly will I have
What
on?
is this? Something you're supposed to open? I can turn it off if you want.
No, I'll go over and put this in.
So we have these.
There, that's what we need. And there's string to put them on. That string I made monkey fists out of is perfect. Which is right there at your feet somewhere. There.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure it's good and long so that when it hangs on your rear view mirror, it doesn't get in the way of your vision.
Yeah.
Oh, let's put it on the string, right? There we go. You got it. Done.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, what are we doing here now? Carlene, can you tell us a little about yesterday's home? My God. They could not believe. They kept waiting for me to march around in circles. They kept saying, well, how do you train them? When do you train them? When do you train them? And they couldn't accept the idea that we are training them every time we're handling them, regardless of what we're doing. And they, particularly in the arena, when we had all the dogs in the arena, and Devin was running up and down the stairs, which have an open back on them, as you know, and then running up and down the A-frame, and then she put them through the sort of channel, whatever. They're just kind of horsing around with them. The whole time she's doing it, they are learning to go up and down stairs that have a hole in the back, which is something that a lot of Great Danes have a fit about. And they're learning to use their muscles in their body and be more agile. And they behaved her perfectly, or she went running around. They followed her perfectly, which of course comes from the spoon feeding deal. And that's how we train them. And they do behave and they do work. I will be very interested. The film crew is coming back tomorrow at noon, at about 10 o'clock. I don't know what they want this time, but now that they've seen George working close up and how he pays attention to Bella, and you don't give him commands, you just talk to him. I'm sort of interested to see what they have to say. But of course it's hard to talk to the one that's kind of in charge because she only speaks Japanese. And the one that's the translator is the wife of the husband who works the camera. That's who they all are. Can you tell how to train a dog to brace? Well, I would start in a chair. You get a dog crossways in front of you, and you get one hand on their shoulders and one on their rear, and you kind of use them to, and you say stay or brace or whatever, and you get them to hold still while you kind of use them to get out of the chair. If it's a very low chair, I have been known to put my arms around their girth rather than put my hands on top of them, because I'm really kind of pulling them toward me to get myself on my feet. Why Charlie left down the kennel? I think it's because Steve was house sitting. Okay, those are Katie's questions. Mention of the documentary is shown in the U.S. I don't think it's 3 hours long. There is nothing in the United States that runs for 3 hours. But they did say that they would get us a copy. How is Bentley and Bailey doing today? They're fine. They're not doing very much because it's too damn cold out. I think Bailey did go out and pee and poop and things like that, but she came right back in again. Bentley got just barely off the edge of the porch before he watered my golf cart and came right back in. So their opinion was very definitely demonstrated about the cold. Okay, we did all that. Going to turn it off now. Goodbye. We don't have any mail. We'll do that tomorrow. Bye. Oh, there was one question. Some people were asking who the guy was that was here today. He's one of my friends from high school, Darwin.